Here we go.
Oh there, wanderer. Stay thy course a moment to indulge an old man.
Elminster?
The very same, Gale. And a fair bit miffed he is, too, finding himself forced to expose his best pair of boots to so many miles of country road on your behalf. Oh, I know a minstrel by trade when I see one. Tell me, what ballad, bold enough to lift me onto the pedestal of acclaim, enjoys your musical predilection? Oh, is that so? The lyrics are by Volo, you know, whose name alone is sufficient enough criterion to arbitrate its acclaim to truth. 2 weeks I had to endure, a frozen beard and wicked frostbites, yet he makes it sound like a dalliance through the dales.
Yes, yes, yes. Be that as it may, you said you came all this way on my behalf, did you not? For what purpose?
I was bid to spare neither time nor my own self to find you. She sent me, Gale. You know of whom I speak.
But why? Out with it, Elminster. Please.
Young man, has your sojourn away from Waterdeep washed away your decorum as well as your patience? Nigh a 10-day I've gone without honest fare, worthy of the name. Drank naught but what the sky entitled my thirst. Why, some bread, cheese, and a cup of wine would appear unto me a feast. Surely you won't begrudge me a mite of rest and repast before I get out with it? And a great kindness that would be. See, Gale, even in these barren parts, the art of hospitality begets inspired new works, if only one keeps up the practice.
Oh, for that have.
This way, then? To your camp. Oh, don't dawdle now, lad. You're the one who's in such a frightful hurry.
Ugh, nigh on 13 centuries old and he still thinks with his stomach. We'd best follow and see if he's more disposed to speak plainly once it's stopped its grumbling. A wise choice. Better to indulge your curiosity than Elminster's appetite.
Yes, what a delightful wedge of old Arthurian that was. Doesn't do to parley on an empty stomach, you know. Makes one's words frivolous when they should be grave. Plenty to digest, after all. A good deal to stew over, if you will. Words ladled with import should be savored so as to better absorb their meaning. Wouldn't you agree?
Elminster!
Right. You see, that is to say, Gale, my boy, I've come to address a most pressing matter. I'll speak as plainly as I can, forswearing the accustomed frills that decorate my speech. I'm here on behalf of Mystra. The message and the charge I bring you are hers.
Oh, Mistra's delicate feet are ill-suited for the hardships of the road.
You know where you went wrong, Gale. And I trust you've told your fellow traveler here the nature of your ills.
I can't say that so far I've volunteered the entire truth.
Do you mean to say you've never bothered to disclose how dangerous you are?
Not in so many words. No.
Then you two have much to discuss after I'll have taken my leave. In short, Gale through his own doing, has become a living explosive that could wipe from this world this very gathering, and much more besides. For his folly, Mystra forsook him, but now she has decreed he is to be given a chance of redemption.
Mystra would consider forgiveness.
She would consider what she considers to be forgiveness. Mystra is aware of the misadventures that have befallen you both. She knows of your strife with the Absolute, that most insidious of evils.
By circumstance, but not by purpose, I swear. I never intended you any harm.
His acts were misguided, yes, but I assure you that deep down he has a heart of, well, let's say, at least silver, which is more that can be said for the foe you face. You must know that the Absolute is more dangerous than you can possibly conceive. It threatens all who live, even those who are undying. It threatens the gods, the weave, the very fabric of the universe itself. That is why I have come here to charge you, Gale, with its destruction. It is Mystra's belief that only you can.
The orb.
Precisely. That which renders him so dangerous is an orb of Netherese origin that is buried within his chest. And that, Gale, is how we arrive at the heart of my directive. Mystra has granted me the power to stop the clock, as it were, on the orb's rush to overpower you. Instead, you will be able to unleash its lethal combustion at will.
Interesting. This could be help or hindrance. We shall have to see.
You must find the heart of the Absolute, whatever that may be, and use yourself as the catalyst that will burn it from this world.
No, indeed. But I think she trusts me too.
It brings me no pleasure saying this, my friend, but such is Mystra's will. Yours must be the sacrifice that will undo the Absolute, and for your sacrifice you will be redeemed. Such is Mystra's promise. With that, I've said my sorry piece, and need only bestow unto thee the charm I was bid. Mina hastra mistraril, Italion, thras annas dithra. It is done. Both charge and charm have been committed into your care. To you, I commit into care Gale himself. I count on you to shepherd him well on this strangest of journeys.
Nor would I expect you to. It's too bleak a task to demand of anyone.
Like moons make swell and wane the nescient seas, so too the sky-strewn gods ordain the tidal fates of mortal days. And yet, an ocean born in lonely hours, come ebb, come flow, come all that is beyond the breadth of our dominion. Be a moon unto yourself, Even the waves of fate can break upon the shores of will. Farewell, my friend.
Farewell, Elminster. I'm glad she chose you. An audience with Elminster is never less than memorable. Suppose it's time we dealt with the Hollyphant in the room. You have questions for me? And I promise I have answers. I'm sorry. I assure you, you are never at risk. However, the cause of my condition is complicated. I'm what one might call a wizard prodigy. And from an early age could not only control the weave, but compose it. Much like a musician or a poet. Such was my skill that it earned me the attention of the mother of magic herself. The Lady of Mysteries. The goddess Mystra. She revealed herself to me and she became my teacher. In time, she became my muse. And later, even my lover. A mortal, enchanted by the allures of the divine? Is that not a tale as old as time? I merely happened to be one of its protagonists. We enjoyed each other's company. Body, mind, and soul. But even so, I desired more. You see, no matter how powerful a wizard we mortals can become, we never scratch more than the surface of the weave. Mystra keeps us in check. There are boundaries she doesn't let us cross, yet every time I was with her, I stood on the precipice, gazing into the wonders that lay beyond. I sought to cross her boundaries. Though not, I think, my methods. I tried to convince her. I pouted. I pleaded. Swore my ambition was only to serve her better. She only smiled and told me to be contented. But inconceivable as it seems to me now, I shared a bed with a goddess, and yet I wasn't satisfied. So I sought to prove myself worthy to her instead. We come now to the crux of my folly. Shall I share the story behind it, or would you rather head straight to its sordid finale? Very well. Here goes. Once upon a very long time ago, a mighty lord lived in a tower. A flying tower, to be precise. I'll save his history for another time, but the gist of it is that he sought to usurp the goddess of magic so that he could become a god himself. He almost managed, but not quite, and his entire empire, Netheril, came crashing down around him as he turned to stone. The magic that was unleashed that day was phenomenal. Roiling like the prime chaos that outdates creation. Even the weave itself could not withstand the onslaught. It fractured, then shattered, and all magic was lost to the mortal realms, until the day Mystra returned. She restored the weave, reuniting all its scattered shards. Or so I thought. Until, in the course of my studies, I learned of a book. A Netherese tome in which a piece of the fractured weave had been sealed beyond her reach. What if, I thought, what if, after all this time, I could return this lost part of herself to the goddess? I certainly thought so. Sometimes there is great strength to be found in symbolism. I was certain that this D of raw power, draped in romance, would convince Mystra to take me by the hand and welcome me into her hitherto forbidden domains. I was mistaken. I obtained the fabled book and took it into my study. As for what happened next... Here. Place your hand over my heart. Let me show you.
You feel the tadpole quiver as you realize Gale is letting you in. into the dark. You see through Gale's eyes, staring down the corridors of a dread memory. A book, bound, and suddenly opened. Inside there are no pages, only a swirling mass of blackest weave that pounces. Its teeth, its claws, it's unstoppable as it digs through and becomes part of you. And gods, is it ever hungry.
I'm sorry, but I had to. After all, this is only the beginning. This Netherese blight, this orb, for lack of a better word, is balled up inside my chest. That it needs to be fed. As long as I absorb traces of the weave from potent enough sources, it remains quiet. Were it ever to fully destabilize, however. I will erupt. I don't know the exact magnitude of the eruption, but given my studies of Netherese magic, I'd say even a fragment as small as the one I carry, it'd level a city the size of Waterdeep. Fortunately, this need no longer be a concern. And until I meet the heart of the Absolute, whatever that is.
So you've an explosive buried in you. My allies do so love to keep simmering secrets, hence your bearded visitor. Even the Githyanki have heard tell of Elminster, the Sage of Shadowdale, you know. Some of his works have been translated to Tirsu. That doesn't mean his every word carries wisdom, however. Near as I can tell, your goddess demands faith, but holds no faith in you. Why else would she demand you sacrifice yourself, and perhaps so many others? Does she not think you can destroy the Absolute with your own immense talents? Does she not know the mighty company that you keep? Demanding Vlaakith may be, but she acts for the good of the Githyanki people. Mistress concerned only for herself. Perhaps you'd find forgiveness in a fiery death, but I can't help but wonder why you'd want it at all.
So that's how you win Mistress' forgiveness? Self-sacrifice? I'm sorry, Gale. That can't be what you wanted to hear.
Quite an explosive secret to keep to yourself, Gale. And it seems Mistra's offered you an equally explosive solution. A shame my first brush with the famed Elminster couldn't be a tad more optimistic. Listen, Gale. I might invoke the Triad from time to time, appeal to Helm, but I'm no man of faith. Not like you. I don't know what drives a man to consider his own death, among countless others, to be an appropriate exchange for his goddess's forgiveness. To me, it all sounds like nonsense. The faith that matters most is that which you hold in yourself, in the ones that most matter to you. Big Bomb be damned. You've got everything you need to defeat the Absolute already. Talent, nerve, and powerful allies at your side. Just some food for thought.
So, I couldn't help but overhear that your gods commanded you to, well, explode. You have been dealt a difficult hand, my friend. I'm sorry. That being said, when you do explode, how far away should I be? I'm sorry, me? Oh, no. I don't think so. I mean, of course I'll support you. I'd just rather do it from a distance because of the, explosion. Still, let's hope it doesn't come to that. Yes, well, I'll leave you to your thoughts. Just, I'll give you some space. As much space as I possibly can.
Oh, was that your granddad? Oh, lovely. You should have introduced him around. Elders love me, and I love them. Your grandfather is the most famous wizard in the realms. I should have guessed. I mean, you're pretty powerful. Makes sense that it's in your blood. I'm listening. What did he say? The orb in your chest? Shit. I knew something was going on with you, but I didn't know the particulars. Well, turns out we have more in common than I knew, except I'm trying not to blow up, and you've been instructed to do just that. What are you thinking? No kidding. What could be bigger? Look, I know what it's like to house something dangerous inside you. But I don't know what it's like for someone else, someone I trust, to ask me to use it against myself. If you need a friend, you know where to find me. Right here. Right now.
I do enjoy our conversations. What do you need? She expects those who seek to use the weave to do so honestly, and with respect for its potential to destroy, as well as its potential to save. I doubt she's asked many of her followers to blow themselves up. That's a fate she's bequeathed exclusively to me. She wouldn't ask such a thing if it weren't our only means of survival. However much she's annoyed at me. Oh, you know me, never the optimist. I'm trying to focus on the positives. Truth is, I was living on borrowed time already. Consuming those items would only have kept the orb sated for so long. If anything, I feel more at peace than I have in months. At least now I know my death will have purpose. It won't be a distant bang in the footnotes of history. I've no doubt she has the power to do so, but as for the permission, Ao would not look kindly on her meddling in mortal affairs. Divine intervention has a tendency to make things worse, not better. As for Elminster, he's saved the realms more times than legend can recount. But to take on a god is no easy feat, even for him. My orb is the best chance we have. And only I can wield it. Ah, yes. Karsus. Karsus was perhaps the most powerful wizard that ever lived. The child who would be a god, the elves called him. And he tried. With a spell of his own devising, he endeavored to usurp in one fell swoop the power of the goddess of magic. Mistral, she was called then. Imagine what it must have felt like to be a god. To know yourself, to be untouchable, to be mistaken. As Karsus aimed his spell at her, she began to unravel, and with her, the entire weave. Too late did he realize what he had unleashed. It would have been the end of everything had not Mistral sacrificed herself. The goddess of magic is all magic. By dying, the entire weave was lost, and the spell that challenged a god failed. It was the end of Mistral, the end of Karsus, and the end of an entire civilization. As the child who would be a god was turned to stone, his empire came crashing down around him. The floating cities of Netheril were no more. An event that came to be known as Karsus's folly. If it takes the death of a god to stop you, I'd say your ambition has gotten somewhat out of hand. Not that I'm one to talk, of course. Now, so many centuries later, I try to follow in the footsteps of Karsus. Not to destroy Mystra, but to prove my love for her. Try to control only a fraction of the magic that was unleashed that fateful day. I merely sought to return one tiny diamond to an imperfect crown. Gale's folly, one might call it. History, repetition. It's the way things go. I'd have hoped to introduce you to him in less dire circumstances. But those are hard to come by these days. The Doddering Act is merely an illusion, one he's most adept at maintaining. Elminster is the most formidable wizard in the realms. Perhaps in existence. For Mystra to have sent him, the severity of her bidding could not be clearer, or weigh more heavily on me. Time seems so infinite when you're young. A month is an age. A year is a lifetime. And it's a strange feeling to realize how little of it one might have left. Of course, you offer the clearest solution to our problem. All I have to do is find the right place and time, close my eyes, and let go. Then the slate will be clean. Wrongs will be righted, the absolute will be gone, and I along with it. I've no doubt she has the power to do so, but as for the permission, Ao would not look kindly on her meddling in mortal affairs. Divine intervention has a tendency to make things worse, not better. As for Elminster, he's saved the realms more times than the legend can recount. But to take on a god is no easy feat, even for him. My orb is the best chance we have. And only I can wield it. If there was, I'm sure the goddess of magic and the greatest wizard who ever lived would have identified it. But alas, only one solution is offered. That remains ahead of us for now. The heart of the Absolute must be discovered before I can stop its beating. Let's save such certainty for the moment such a decision is upon us. You may feel differently once we know what we're truly up against.
Elminster's visit weighs heavy on your mind. His is a face you did not expect to see again. When you last saw him, you were in your prime. No orb, no tadpole, a mage of growing renown, all power, pride, and potential. Beloved by the goddess of magic herself. It's one thing to have fallen from such heights, but to have Elminster himself now witness your humiliation is almost unbearable. Mystra would no more forgive Elminster for defying her than she was willing to forgive you. His hands are tied, as, it seems, are yours. The stakes of the task ahead are clear. The Absolute threatens more than Faerun. It threatens the goddess of magic herself. Somewhere in these shadow-cursed lands lies a power great enough that Mystra dare not speak its true name. The heart of the Absolute. You will find it where it beats, and learn exactly what she is afraid of.